Reflection and Refraction by Trevor Markgraf. Reflection. Some or all of the wave bounces back into the first medium when hitting a boundary of a second medium. When all of the wave energy is reflected back instead of being transmitted, it is a total reflection. If some energy is transmitted and some is reflected, the wave is partially reflected. Here's an example of a train going by a mirror. The light bends to the colors, and the colors create an image. The law of reflection. The direction of the incidence and reflection is best described by straight line rays. Incident rays and reflected rays make equal angles with a line perpendicular to the surface called the normal. Angle of incident, angle made by the incident ray, and the normal angle of reflection, angle made by the reflection ray, and the normal line of law of reflection, the angle of incident and the angle of reflection are equal. Here's an example. Incident ray hits the mirror and the reflected ray is bounced off the mirror, creating a reflection. Virtual image. The law of the point located behind a mirror where an object appears to originate. Your eye cannot tell the difference between the object and its virtual image. The image is as far behind a mirror as the object is in front of the mirror. Diffuse reflection. Light incident on a rough surface is reflected in many directions. A surface's roughness is dependent upon the wavelength of the wave incident upon the surface. The longer the wavelength, the smoother the surface will appear. To a piece of paper, light is reflecting diffusely. Here is an example of diffusion reflection. Reflected rays are bouncing off a bumpy mirror or a bumpy surface, and they are all scattered in different directions, so you know clear image. Reflection of sound. An echo is reflected sound. Sound reflects from all surfaces of a room. Acoustics is the study of where sound reflects off of objects in the room. Reverberations, multiple reflections of sound within a room. The walls or concert halls are designed to make the reflection of sound diffuse. Here's an example of the sound diffusion. Refraction. The change in direction of a wave as it crosses the boundary between two media in which the wave travels at different speeds. Wave fronts. Lines that represent the position of different crests. At each point along the wave is moving perpendicular to the wave front. The direction of the motion is best represented as waves. Here's an example of refraction. Sound waves are reflected when parts of a wave front travel at different speeds. This happens in uneven winds or temperatures. Sound waves tend to bend from the warm ground, travel faster in warmer air. On a cold night, the speed of sound is slower nearly to the ground than above, so we can hear only over large distances. Here's an example of the reflection of sound. Reflection of light. A pond of swimming pool may appear shallower than they actually are. A pencil in a glass of water will appear bent. All of these effects are caused by changes in the speed of light as it passes from one medium to another. Difference of the same medium which changes the direction of light rays. Index of reflection speed, light and vacuum speed of light in material. Reflection of light. On hot days, there may be a layer of very hot air in contact with the ground. The light will travel faster through this air and will bend, creating a mirage. When you watch the sun set, you can still see the sun for several minutes after it has sunk below the horizon, because light is reflected by Earth's atmosphere. Here's an example of the atmospheric refraction. Light of frequencies closer to the natural frequency of the electron oscillator in the medium travels more slowly in the medium. Since different frequencies of light at different speeds in transparent materials, they will reflect differently and bend at different angles. When the light is bent at non-parallel boundaries, as it is in the prism, the separation of the different colors is apparent. Dispersion, the separation of light into colors, arranged according to their frequency.
Throughout each day of your life, you are exposed to promotional materials for products and service.
Here's an example of dispersion in the prism.
Scientific methods. Scientific methods can be used to draw
The rainbow. The rainbow takes the concept of dispersion of multiple it through the atmosphere. The sun shines on water droplets in a cloud. When it is raining, the light is dispersed by raindrop into a spectral of colors.
What is that word name?
Here's an example of a rainbow.
Draw inferences.
Critical angle, the minimum angle of incident for which a light ray is totally reflected within a medium. The 100% total reflection of light that strikes the boundary between two media at an angle greater than the critical angle. Optic fibers utilize the concept of total indirect reflection to feed light from one location to another. These cables are very useful for communications. Here's an example of fiber optics, laser reflecting through water and bending, and another